Hey, welcome to Worship Tutorials. Bradford, Brian here. We are at Yamaha Guitar Group, which I saw many people be rather confused. They did not know that Line 6 was part of Yamaha. So we are here with Line 6. I think you may be familiar with the fact that we kind of sort of really love the Helix. And we're here with two of like the top dogs who created the dang thing. So Ben and Eric, if you guys just introduce yourselves for everybody, let them know what you do for Line 6.
Chief Product Design Architect. I design stuff, and then people say I can't make it, and then I beg them, and then they times too.
I'm Ben Adrian. I'm the sound design manager, which basically means I am part of and in charge of the department that does all the modeling for all the models and sounds for everything that's Helix, even Catalyst, pretty much anything that processes your guitar. I'm the sound part.
So as Bradford said, we are humongous fans of the Helix. Love the thing. There's a graphic that floats around, and I don't mean to throw any shade on anybody, but I'm sure you've seen it, where it's like every other modeling device that's come on the market, there's like a photo of the Helix and the photo of that thing, and they all look the same.
Yeah,
it's
That was you?
That was me. No, that was a while back because it was at the time it was kind of tongue in cheek,
right?
Because it's
right.
like, oh really?
Yeah, but it's kind of true.
That was
Now
you.
it's gotten a little different. It's got a little different twist to it now that there are that many more.
Hey, facts are facts.
That's right. Yeah. So clearly the Helix has been a very inspiring device for all the things that have come since it that do the same types of things. An inspiring device, you could say. What is it that inspired the Helix? Where did that thing come from?
Originally, and it goes back farther than either of our tenures too.
Okay.
So,
Really? Okay.
originally it was called Veta System. It was going to be bundled with a tube amp.
Oh wow.
And it was going to be like a $2,500 bundle. The economy took a dump, so they pivoted to separate DT50s and separate pod HD500Xs. They ripped out the touchscreen, they ripped off the scribble strips, and that sort of thing. And then, but we kept all of the ideas, and we had iterated, and as the economy started coming back, we're like, oh, we can take a few more risks. Yeah. We had this amazing platform with the StageScape mixer that had the touchscreen, the Wi-Fi, wireless editing, and the two Shark processors, and that actually became Helix, kind of. But we had to rip out the touchscreen because some people didn't want it, and I'm still mad at them. But
So you were a proponent for touchscreen.
Okay, hardcore. But I was a product manager at the time. The product manager got bullied into it, and he acquiesced. And I'm like, oh, really?
Oh man.
And at the time, we could only afford to do either tethered Mac PC or wireless, and everybody we surveyed said, well, if you have to choose, do tethered. So we're like, okay. And we had, we did make the first untethered editor guitar product with Amplified, but
That's right.
it was the main gist of it was to improve upon HD500X in as many possible ways as we could. Improve the user experience, improve the sound engine, improve the controllability of other stuff, the build quality, the looks, the interfacing with computers, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
When I got here, it was about 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And there were 4 sound designers at the time, and it was when they were making the StageScape mixer and PA system. And there was a lot of stuff. It was also when they were doing a lot of Variac stuff too. There's a lot of stuff going on. They basically like, here's some modeling tools. Yeah. Here's some stuff, and I just kind of got to learn at my own pace. And so for a couple of years, I was doing nothing but building models that I thought were going to be model packs for HD500.
Yeah.
So I was doing all this stuff behind the scenes, and I was kind of like, I was just basically kind of feel like I was forgotten. But it allowed me this great freedom, and so I started messing around with new modeling ideas. And there was another person who used to work here named Matt, who was very, very smart, and also was kind of with me. And so when we realized that this next product that became Helix was going to come out, and that we would have a little more DSP headroom, we started messing around with new ways to do models and try to get the things that we always wanted to fit into HD500 but couldn't get to fit. So I really kind of got this, I felt like it was probably here for 4 years before Helix really came out. And the whole time I was just working and doing this whole new modeling stuff behind the scenes. So it was really fun to have this this space to create and do these experiment and try these things and make the new kind of procedures for doing amp models. There's some expectation that if one product has a lot of stuff in it, that each individual thing must not be as good than if you buy a product that just has one thing in it.
Yes.
I hold that view sometimes too.
But there are many companies who I like who essentially make the exact same digital platform and then put different art on it and put a different mark, sell it as a different effect. When essentially if you look inside, it's going to be 99% the same thing. They could easily make that one effect, not easily, but it would be within the realm of possibility to make one effect load many things.
Yeah.
And I would say, Nunaber, Nunaber, I don't know how you pronounce it. They did that for a while. They had one pedal, but you could load up, and I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
You buy it because you want that one, but if you want to play around with the other ones, it's there.
Yeah.
And for us, we're like, the memory to keep the models in there is not that much. Why not? We spend a lot of time on each model, make them really special.
Yeah.
But why not just buy one thing and get it all? That's a very egalitarian, people-loving, customer-loving thing to do.
Yeah.
Like, I want everyone to have my work. And if I can just keep making models and we can afford to give them out and I have a job and people like what we do, that's great. And it doesn't mean that each model is somehow lesser than. I'm spending a lot of time on each one.
Yeah.
But I've been doing it for 12 years. So it's great.
If you want to do it old school, buy 5 HX1s and paint them different colors.
That option is available to you.
But I don't also want to knock anyone. If people want to have do that way, that's fine too. And some people just want to this is my one thing. It does the one thing. I'm happy with it. I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We're all here to have fun on the playground together.
This is a two-part, quite very open-ended. I'm sure there's many things you can't share, but we'd love to hear from you. Where do you see the future of amp modeling or amp capturing, effects modeling? What's in the future, and what do you see as the future of line?
In a general sense, and
and what's coming in the future from Line 6?
I can say where I'd like it to go.
Sure.
that's good.
I would love it if we could spend the time creating sounds that haven't been around for 100 years, where we're allowed to push the boundaries in a very simple way and make cool things that nobody's ever heard before. We're certainly obligated to model the standbys because people want that stuff. But,
Sure.
I mean, when Ben and Sam come out with their new original Line 6 original amps, they're awesome.
Yeah.
And
And
the benefit is they don't have to do all the extra work to get all the weird squirrely nuances of the amps that may not make them sound better. It just makes them sound accurate. So they can focus only on making them sound awesome. And because they don't have to do all that extra DSP to describe the bad behavior, they take up less DSP as well. So like Cartographer and Ventu and all of that stuff, it sounds so good because you don't have to put the bad stuff in to make it accurate.
yeah.
And they're also, as we expand on these tools, the sound design guys, they're able to go in and make cool things that couldn't exist in the real world at all.
Yeah.
The I think of jazz and clarinet and those instruments, and they kind of did their one thing, and that music was super popular. And then as that music kind of faded, those instruments, they're still around, they're still great, but they're not the cultural touchstones. And it kind of feels like the cultural touchstone of the giant full stack guitarist is kind of going down. And when I see young bands play now that are these kind of newer, exciting bands that are looking at guitar in a different way, a lot of times they have smaller amps. The guitar is not the focal point, it's just part of a larger ensemble. And a lot of younger players, they haven't used the giant stacks, they haven't used the classic amps. Some of them have lived almost entirely in a world of modeling now. And an amp is not the thing that makes the audience hear your guitar. The amp is the last thing in your signal chain that gives you your creative voice. And so I kind of see modeling as here is a thing that makes your guitar sound like what you really want to sound like. And, and also in the world of modeling, you don't have to put the amp last. You can put the amp before and you can process it. Distortion, pitch shifted, sounds a lot different than a pitch shifter into distortion.
Yeah.
And so the modeling kind of creates a way to make guitar and the sound of the guitar be your own voice, and less away from this is also making my sound louder. And in many cases, I'm sure in many of the venues on a channel like Worship Tutorials, you don't even want. This amp is under a stage. The amp is in a box. No one wants to hear that. We'll have in-ears.
Yeah.
So in this world where it seems like younger players are going, and yeah, sure, there's a retro world where people want to crank up amps.
Yeah.
I have like 10 tube amps. I own 10 tube amps. And, I play them, and it's fun.
Yeah.
And they fill the room, and it's awesome. But there's also this world of people using the amp as their creative sonic sculpture tool.
Yeah.
And then if you think of it like that, and you don't think of it as a replication of something from the RCA Radio Designer's Tube Manual book, you can push the boundaries of what you do. And that's super fun and exciting to me. And I live in both worlds. I play in loud rock bands with big half stacks, and I do super ambient music where I just send a signal out to a PA. And I feel super contented in both.
So it's like you're saying is you hope that it becomes more personal.
Yeah, I hope people decide an amp is not just a thing that makes your guitar louder, but also kind of defines my tone. That the amp is actually just sound processing device for my creative journey.
Yeah. So if I were going to guess what the future of Line 6 is going to do in the amp modeling space, it has to do with that.
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of just think we're just gonna, maybe we just put Line 6 to bed and just make nothing but amp peg full stacks.
There we
go. I mean, honestly, I just want to make finding guitar tones a fun journey. But I don't know, maybe 3.9 just deletes everything and it's just 1.0 again.
Burn it all down.
Yeah, how do you incentivize musicians to create new and interesting sounds that haven't been heard before versus trying to chase decades ago? And how do you incentivize them to play more? How do you incentivize them to play out more to inspire other musicians? How do you get more people to play guitar? Because fewer people are playing guitar. And so these are things we see written on the wall that we are trying to solve. And it kind of sounds heady and hippy-dippy in a little way, but it's also our bottom line, and we want more people to do that. So if we only focus on professional high-end floor modelers for bands and worship musicians, we won't have new musicians coming in. So,
So
we're trying to see it from as many directions as possible.
Well, Eric and Ben, thank you so much for taking the time to have a chat with us.
Yes.
Thanks for having us here.
It was super nerdy for me, so I hope others feel the same.
We have very much enjoyed being here.
Yes.
Thanks for coming to our laboratory, our little workshop here.
Very good.
I love it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Click the bell.
Absolutely.
Do all the things. We'll link below all of Line 6's social media, YouTube, everything else.
Yeah.
Follow them as well.
Yep.
We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.